Hi, welcome back to our channel. For those that are new here, I'm Marvinta. I'm a creative director slash animator here at Plain Simple, and today we are going to do something different. I'm going to give you a desk tour, and then I'm going to show you my work setup and the pen display that I'm using. So what you see here, this room, is our recording studio. This is where I record tutorials, but this isn't the place where I get things done. This isn't the place where I edit or animate. So in a while, we're gonna go to my working desk and I'm going to show you like my work area. And also, I have three pen display from Huion. So that's what I'm using. And I'm going to give a comparison of those three. So that's what we're gonna do after. So this video is sponsored by Huion, and just to give you a background, in 2021, I decided to switch my pen display to a Huion. So I bought the Kamvas 16 2021 with my own money. And last year, 2022, I decided to upgrade. So I bought the Kamvas Pro 16 2.5K, again with my own money. And this year, 2023, luckily, Huion noticed us and decided to send us the Kamvas Pro 16 4K. So now I have three pen displays, and now I'm going to compare those. And even though this is a Huion sponsored video, what I'm about to say is entirely my own. Huion doesn't have any say on what or how this video will go about. So everything here is my opinion. So that's what we're gonna do first. We're gonna do the desk tour, and then after the Huion comparison. So if you're only here for the comparison video, you can skip directly to that part. Timestamps are in the description. This video also have video chapters, so you could skip directly to that part. So my hope with this video is first to show you a little bit about me by looking at my working desk. And also my hope for this video is if you're in the market to buy a pen display, hopefully this video will help you make an informed decision. So let's go to my working desk. Hi, welcome to my battle station. I work on a 2-monitor setup. I'm using the old Apple Thunderbolt display as my main monitor, and I'm currently using the Huion Kamvas Pro 16 4K as my main drawing tablet. And it's really great to draw on the screen for frame-by-frame animation work. It has 4K resolution, so it looks really crisp. I have a monitor riser to raise the pen display, and my laptop is just below the riser. I also have a monitor riser for my main display. So the way I work is that I have files, Windows, references, browsers, Spotify, etc. on my main display, and on the Huion is where my work apps are, like Adobe Animate, After Effects, Photoshop, etc. So you might ask why I have a monitor riser for both the pen display and my main display. So let me just show you. This is without the monitor riser, and this is with monitor riser. And this would tidy things up, allowing for more space in this area. My main microphone is a Rode Video Mic NTG. When we have team meetings, I put the mic here and then connect the wire, and then I'm ready for a Zoom call. The headphones that I use is a Sony MX5. I like this because it's wireless and it has noise cancelling features. For my keyboard, I use a Logitech Mechanical Mini. I like this because it's the smallest form factor I can find for a mechanical keyboard, and I like the way it sounds. For my mouse, I use the Logitech MX Master 3. It has side-scrolling and programmable buttons. For my laptop, I use a MacBook Pro 14-inch M1 Max. It's expensive, but for my specific use case, I'd say it's worth it. I edit tutorials and recordings in 4K, I animate frame by frame, I sometimes do motion graphics in After Effects, and I need to transfer from one working place to the next. And this laptop paired with the Huion Kamvas is very much capable to do those things. I collect toys, but I'm not some super collector, just some casual collector, I guess. I really enjoy the time in assembling this Gundam kits. I also have a Switch and a PS4. Here are some of my games. I've finished most of them. And here are some of my books. Here are some books that I have finished. So compared to the games I've finished, I still have a lot to read. The ratio isn't that good. What I'm striving is to play less and read more. So this is where my active books are, or active notebooks. Active in the sense that this is what I'm currently reading, and this is the notebook that I'm currently taking notes. So I would like to show you this specific notebook. So this is like my learnings notebook. So the purpose of this is, for example, I'm working on a project and I realize something about like the process or about the project itself. So for example, here I'm working on like lip sync and I realized something, so I took down like notes. So these are like my notes, realization, or things that I've learned. So this is a learning notebook. So I keep this one close. So this should be like close to my like working position, so I could easily grab this. And I have here pens here, so that I don't have to look for pens. So I would like pick the notebook, pick this one up, and then grab a pen here, and then begin writing notes. So now I'm back at the recording studio, and now let's start with the Huion comparison. So let's first start answer the question what a pen display is. So a pen display is a display that you need to connect to a computer. And the good thing with pen displays is that you draw directly on screen. So there are a lot of ways to draw using your computer. You can use a mouse, a trackpad, a graphics tablet, or a pen display. And the difference between a graphics tablet and a pen display is that on a graphics tablet, it's not a screen. So your hand is on the graphics tablet and you're looking at the screen and not at the tablet. And by far the best experience when it comes to frame-by-frame animation is a pen display because you are drawing directly on screen. So all of the Huion products that I have are pen displays. So all of my pen displays here are 16-inch, and I think the size is really great. I think it's perfect. It's not too small, but it's not too big either. I think 16-inch for a pen display is the perfect size for frame-by-frame animation, or at least for me. So for comparison, I'll put an 11-inch iPad Pro so you can visualize the size of this. And the main difference between the three are the resolution. The Kamvas 16 2021 has a maximum resolution of 1920 by 1080, or what we call 1080p or Full HD. The Kamvas 16 Pro 2.5K has a maximum resolution of 2560 by 1440. This is considered 2.5K or what we call QHD. The Kamvas Pro 16 4K has a maximum resolution of 3840 by 2160. This is what we consider as 4K or UHD. So in a nutshell, the bigger the resolution, the better, right? But that's not the full story. So we need to discuss the native resolution and also the high DPI. So let's first start discussing the native resolution. Now let's say this is 1920 by 1080. For reference, take a look at the text and the space around it. So if we have a 2560 by 1440 resolution, it's going to be bigger, right? The text size remains the same, but you'll notice it has a bigger space. This is good because you can fit in more windows, more apps into your screen. And a 3840 by 2160 is much bigger. The text size remains the same, but you have way bigger screen estate. But the thing is, your screen is only 16 inches. So the 2560 by 1440 will be fit into 16 inches, making the text smaller but still giving you more space than the 1920 by 1080. The same with the 4K. The 4K would make the text really small. And honestly, the 4K native size is just too small for a 16-inch monitor. The 2.5K is okay, it's readable, but I think the best size in terms of size of the text is the 1920 by 1080. But there's a thing that we call high DPI. For higher resolution screens like let's say 4K, you can scale down the resolution to 1920 by 1080. So it's basically half the maximum resolution, right? So where does the other half go? It's going to use or squish all those pixels, making it really dense to make the 1920 by 1080 scaling very crisp. So looking at a 1920 by 1080 on the Kamvas 16 2021, you'll still see a bit of the pixels. And looking at a 1920 by 1080 scaling on the Kamvas 16 Pro 4K, you'll see that it's very crisp. And by default, your computer would use the best looking scaling. So by default, the 2021 version has a scaling of 1920 by 1080. The 2.5K has a default scaling of 2560 by 1440. The 4K has a default scaling of the high DPI version of 1920 by 1080. In terms of text size, the default scaling for the 2021 and 4K are the same, but the 4K is very crisp. And on the 4K, if you want to use its native resolution, you can, but it's also gonna make the text very small. You can even make it the same scaling as the 2.5K if you want. So for the screen resolution, the 4K wins because it's the best looking screen. It's very, very crisp. But is more, obviously this is more expensive, right? The 4K is more expensive. This is the cheapest one among the three. This one is in the mid-range. So is more pixels worth it? That depends on you. For me, it is, because we are so used to high DPI screens. Like for example, my phone, it has, I don't know, as of this recording, I don't know the exact pixels, but I'm gonna put like a graphics on screen, what the actual pixels are. But remember, this is a 6-inch phone. Imagine that amount of pixels on this very small screen. So it's very high density, right? And we're looking at our phones every day. And what I want is when I work, I want to be inspired. I want it to be very crisp. I want my drawing, my illustration, my animations to look very nice. And for me, it's worth it. But if you're not bothered by the screen looking a little bit pixelated, then I think this one's also very good. Now let's talk about portability. I think all of the three pen displays have amazing portability. And I think this is where Huion really shines. So the way you set this up by default on the Kamvas 16 2021, you have a 3-in-1 cable. you plug the USB-C to the pen display, and you plug in the HDMI and the USB to the computer. And you plug in the red one to a power brick that's provided, and plug that to the power outlet. And for the Kamvas Pro 16 2.5K, you have this 3-in-2 cable. This is a double USB-C that you plug to the pen display. And on the other end, you plug the HDMI and USB to the computer, and again the red one to the power brick, and you plug that to the power outlet. And for the Kamvas Pro 16 4K, it's the same as the 16 2021. It has a 3-in-1 cable. And the default way in setting up is already good. I mean, how you connect the laptop to the pen display, it's already good, but it's too messy for my taste. There's like too many wires, and you still need to look for a power outlet. You need the power brick, right, to have the power on the pen display. But fortunately, there's an alternative option that you can use that's already provided. So if your laptop has USB-C and it can supply power via USB-C, then you don't really need the messy cables anymore, and you don't even need the power brick anymore, because just the one USB-C cable and you're good. And so far, I haven't seen any pen display from other brands that is this good in terms of portability, that is this convenient, that you just have a laptop, just one cable, you don't even need a power outlet or a power brick, and it would power up the pen display. So if you are like me, who moves around, who moves from one workstation to the next, this is a very helpful feature. So if now I'm on a coffee shop or a co-working space, I just need my laptop, bring out my pen display, and I don't even need to look for power outlet. I just connect one USB-C cable to the pen display, and I'm already good. As long as my laptop has enough power, right? For you, it's like full battery. For sure that if the laptop is, let's say it's 10%, I think the way it outputs power would be lower, and maybe, I haven't tried, but maybe then it's not enough to power the pen display, right? So as long as my laptop has enough power on it, it would power up my pen display too. And I haven't seen any other pen display from other brands that is able to do this, that is 16-inch and able to just get power from the laptop. But if you're planning to buy any of these because of that feature for the portability, that you just need one cable and you're good, just make sure that your laptop is compatible. Just make sure that your laptop has USB-C and that it's able to output enough power. So I'm not sure about this like information. Maybe there would be some laptops that can't output enough power. If that is the case, then you still need to connect this to a power outlet, like all of them, right? So if you are planning to buy this product because of that feature, just make sure, okay, that it's able to power, it has enough output power from the laptop. But I think that most modern laptops right now is able to output enough power and it has USB-C. But just to be sure, please do your research before like purchasing these product if you are looking for that like specific feature. So in terms of portability, all of them are great. All of them have a very like small form factor. So I'm just gonna see, it's very thin. I think the only thing that you have to worry about is if this would fit your backpack, right? So you need to have a backpack that is big enough so that this would fit in. But like all of them like are almost the same in terms of size. Like for example, this one, see, it's very thin, right? And I haven't like seen other like pen display this thin, easy to carry around. It's very lightweight. But again, you just have to consider if this one would fit. This is a bit like long. It's 16 like inch. Um, but in terms of size, I think the 4K has an edge because it doesn't have any buttons. So it's a bit smaller compared to these two. But again, it's very thin. So you can purchase a Kamvas 16 2021 with a stand, but you could also choose to purchase this without a stand, making it a bit cheaper. And this is the stand that you'll get if you do purchase with a stand. The Huion Kamvas Pro 16 2.5K and 4K comes with the same stand. There's not an option to purchase these two without a stand. The 2021 stand has this dimensions for its base, and the 2.5K and 4K version stand has this dimensions for its base. So next, we're gonna talk about the buttons on the sides on your pen display, or the lack thereof, and if you really need these buttons. So the 2021 version has 10 buttons, the 2.5K has 8 buttons, and the 4K has no buttons at all. But are buttons really that useful? So working on a 2 monitor like this, I mainly use the buttons, or at least just one button, to switch screen. So when I'm drawing on this screen and maybe there's something I want to click on this area, I don't want to go to my mouse or use the trackpad. It disrupts my workflow. So I have this button to switch to the other side of the screen. So currently my cursor is right here, but once I click, you'll see that it's now on the other side. I click again, and now it's back here. So if you're not gonna use the buttons to switch screen, how are you going to do that? You could also switch screen using the mouse. So I'm now using the mouse, and you could think of it like these screens are like connected. So look at my cursor. So I'm using the mouse. So if I'm gonna go it here, it's gonna like teleport to the other side. Now I'm on the other side, and to go back, I'm just like going to continue on with this, and this is going to go here on my other screen. So on the 4K, it doesn't have any buttons. How do I switch screen? You could actually program the pen to do certain functions. So I have set it that this button right here would switch screen. So currently I'm on my Huion display. Look at the cursor. I'm gonna click this, and now it's on the other side. I'm gonna click the button again, and it's back here. So the downside of that is I actually lose a button on my pen. You can actually like put like keyboard shortcuts here. Like for example, this could be a brush, this could be an eraser, but since the 4K display doesn't have any buttons for my switch screen, I have to sacrifice one of these buttons to place the switch screen functionality. So for the Huion Kamvas 2021 and the 2.5K version, they have buttons on the sides, right? So I chose like one of the buttons on the sides for my switch screen, which leaves me these buttons as empty. I could like assign any shortcuts to this. So for the 2021 and 2.5K, I have this as my right click. So if I'm gonna press this, that's going to be the right click. And I have this as my pan. So if I'm gonna hold this, or this one is the space bar, right? In Photoshop, that's the shortcut for panning. So if I'm gonna hold this, you'll see that the cursor changes. And now, while holding that, I could now pan. So since the 4K doesn't have buttons on the side, I actually need to sacrifice one of these buttons for my switch screen. And since right click is very important, I have set this up as my right click. This one is my switch screen button. Anyway, for the panning, I could just use the space bar here, click this and use it here. But the way I set this up is this is the switch screen and this is my right click. So there's actually a bug on the switch screen for the pen button, which I'm going to show you later. So I'm gonna show you how it should go. Okay, so I have the switch screen on this button. Okay, so currently I'm on this screen. I'm gonna transfer to the next screen, so I'm gonna click this. Now I'm on the next screen. And what if I want to transfer this window to my pen display? So I'm just like dragging this, right? And then while holding this one, I'm gonna click the switch screen, and now the window is on my pen display. So I'm now using the 4K, and I'm gonna demonstrate the bug when you put the switch screen on one of the buttons, right? So I was forced to place the switch screen here because it doesn't have any buttons, right? So now I'm gonna transfer to my main display. I'm gonna click this now. Now I am on the main display and I want to transfer this to my pen display, right? So while holding this, I'm now going to click the switch screen. And as you can see, only the cursor transferred here and not the window. And that is so annoying. So what I have to do if I want to transfer window is I don't use the pen, but I used the mouse. So if I have to make a suggestion, it would have been great if this tablet has a dedicated switch screen button somewhere, right? There's a power button right here that you could click. Maybe on the other side, there's also like a physical button for the switch screen. And if they have that, I think this would have been like a better product overall if they have that like dedicated button here. But I've been talking about the switch screen so far, right? But how about the rest of the buttons? Are they really useful? So you can assign keyboard shortcuts to these buttons. And as I have mentioned earlier, you can also assign keyboard shortcuts to the pen buttons. So we're back at my desk. So before having a riser, this is my setup. My keyboard is on the left and the pen display is close to me. And in this case, I always make a mistake when trying to click the keyboard shortcuts. And it's not a very comfortable position. I could also make it like this, but my arm would touch the keyboard and I don't like that at all. So in this setup, the buttons on the pen display is actually helpful. And in this specific criteria, the 2021 version wins because it has the most buttons. But the moment I had a riser and I have the keyboard just below my pen display, my arm doesn't touch the keyboard anymore. So the moment I switch to this setup, I find myself not really clicking the buttons here except for the switch screen because I have full access to my keyboard now. It's just right below. Like for these shortcuts, for example, B for a brush, E for eraser, it's very near here and I don't really need also the space because the space bar is a quick access. So to new frame, F7, F6, it's easy to access now in using this setup. So again, I would have preferred a physical switch for my switch screen functionality. But aside from that, there's not much loss for not having any buttons in this setup because again, the keyboard is very near. The only like downside is if I want to transfer window from my main display to here, I just use the mouse. So I put down my pen and use the mouse to transfer like any window that I want. For example, this one here. So again, if I have a dedicated button on like the hardware itself and not on the pen, that would be really convenient to have that switch screen button. So how about the drawing experience? How does it feel like drawing on any of these pen displays? So the 2021 version, this one, it has a matte screen protector. It's pre-installed, so you don't have to install this yourself. So you can't see it on the camera, but there's like some sort of film. If you remove the film, there's gonna be a glossy screen to this, but it's pre-installed with that like matte film, so it has a bit of texture, and that helps with the glare. It acts as a anti-glare film, I guess. And these two, the 2.5K and the 4K, doesn't have a matte screen protector. The screen itself is like, it has texture already, so it doesn't have any film, right? But the screen itself is it's what they call on the website anti-glare etched screen. So the screen itself already has a bit of texture. And according to the website, it says that drawing on these three feels like you are drawing on paper. But is it though? You know, whenever a company says it feels like paper, it really isn't. And let's rate the drawing experience on these three. Let's say that the experience of drawing on paper, that score is 10. And let's say the experience of drawing on a glossy screen, like let's say my phone, it's very slippery, right? So this score is 0. Let's try first the 2021 version. Remember that this has a matte screen protector. So I'm just gonna draw. I'm not sure if the mic would be able to capture the sound of this, but it's actually quite good. There's like because it has that matte film, so it's not really glossy. There's really that texture. I don't know if you could hear it on the mic. So I'd give this a 5, and that may be like a failing score, but we are comparing this to paper, right? So the paper is 10, so I'd rate this as a 5. So I'd say it's very good. So you may think that 5 is a low score, but comparing it to other drawing tablets, computers, or like drawing on screen, 5 is already high. So I'd say this is a very good drawing experience. So next, I'm gonna try the 2.5K. This is the 2.5K. So I'm just gonna like draw scribbles. It's actually quite good. Remember, this doesn't have a matte screen protector. The screen itself has a bit of texture. I'd say I'd give this a score of 4. It's way better than a glossy screen, like let's say drawing on your phone, but it has less texture compared to the 2021 version. But overall, I'd say it's still good. This is my score is 4. Surprisingly, this one has the worst drawing experience among the 3. I'm gonna rate this as a 3. It's still better than a glossy screen, like for example your phone, but it has lesser friction compared to the 2.5K and lesser friction than the 2021 version. So my score for this is 3. So I was a bit disappointed and sad that the 4K has the worst drawing experience among the 3. It was because I'm rooting for this product because it has the best looking screen. So I was searching online and I found out that Huion actually sells felt nibs. So it's this one. And also the 2.5K. So these are the stand. This is the stand for the 2021 version. This is the stand for the 2.5K. And this is the stand for the 4K. And if we open this one, the 2.5K actually has free felt nibs. but the other two doesn't have any free felt nibs. So as you can see here, for the 2021 and the 4K, these are standard nibs, but for the 2.5K, you actually have free felt nibs included. And I don't know what the reasoning behind is. The 4K should also, for me, in my opinion, since it has the worst drawing experience, I think it should have like free felt nibs. Because this is also the premium product, right? It's like much more expensive than the 2.5K. I understand the 2021 version only has standard nibs because it's like the entry level. It's the cheapest among the three. But for the 4K, I would have expected that this would also have included with felt nibs. But in case you want the 4K, you're going to buy the 4K, I would suggest that you would include this on your purchase. So I have installed the felt nibs. So let's try. So I'm just gonna like scribble. This actually like really improved the drawing experience. So I would give this a 1-point bump. So from 5, this now has a score of 6 with the felt nib included. So this is the 2021. So the 2021 plus the felt nibs would have a score of 6. So next, let's try the felt nibs on the 2.5K version. So I'm just gonna scribble anything here. So again, just like with the 2021, it has improved the drawing experience. It has a bump of like 1 point. So from 4, this now becomes a 5. And now with the 4K, we're gonna try the felt nibs on the 4K. And again, the felt nibs is effective. It has increased the drawing experience. I'm gonna say it has bumped up the score by 1 again. So from 3, it's now a 4. And honestly, I think a score of 4 as for the drawing experience is really good. With the felt nibs, the drawing experience on the 4K is now very good. Right, the 3 for me without the felt nibs, I think it's still a bit too slippery. But with the felt nibs, I think this is really good. I think this is a really good drawing experience. So just to compare, the 4K with felt nibs is almost the same as the 2.5K without felt nibs. And the 2.5K with felt nibs is almost like the 2021 without it. And the 2021 with felt nibs is the one with the best friction. I'll also link the felt nibs in the description just in case you want to include that in your purchase. But just to note, the 2.5K already has felt nibs included. These two, the 2021 version and the 4K, doesn't have felt nibs included. The 2.5K has, I think, 5 felt nibs included in it. So for this round, I would give it to the 2021 version. It has like the best drawing experience. It has the best friction, maybe because of the matte film protector. And I guess you could only do as much with the screen itself. It has a bit of texture, but it's not like this. So for this round, the 2021 version wins. So what does the response time mean? So I think you already know what FPS is, right? So that stands for frames per second. So what FPS means is, for example, if your monitor is capable of 60 FPS, meaning your monitor is able to show you 60 frames per second. So the response time is within that 60 FPS, how quick does your monitor switch from one frame to the next, right? So this is usually like very, very quick, like millisecond. So the 2021 version has like, I think 25 millisecond. This one has 14 millisecond, and this one has 25 millisecond. So that's the response time. So I have recorded this animation played on the screen, and let's now look at it in slow motion. And then let's pause. You'll see at some point that there are two images. So that's the response time, right? In the recording, we were able to capture like two image in the screen. So it's like we are seeing like double like image. So the quicker the response time is, the better, and the lesser we're able to perceive like double frames. But since the switching is really quick, can we really perceive it, right? So okay, let me like tell you my experience with using this pen displays. So I first used the 2021 version, which has a 25 millisecond response time, and it was fine when I used it. I didn't think about it. I couldn't like I wasn't like it wasn't really that bad. I really didn't notice the response time. And then when I upgraded to the 2.5K, which has a quicker response time, which is 14 millisecond, I was like, whoa, it's smoother. I could feel it's smoother. When I preview animation, it's much smoother. And that became like my new normal. The 14 millisecond response time became like my new normal. And then when I used the 4K, which is the same as this one, 25 millisecond, I could notice it. I could at first I was like, there's something wrong with there's something with this. I just can't pinpoint what it is. And then I researched about it, and it was the response time, because it is a much slower response time, and I feel like there's a bit of lag. But after using this for about a month now, I could again barely notice it at all. So for me, it's like my eyes have gotten used to the 25 millisecond, and I couldn't perceive the lag anymore. So for me, the response time, a quicker response time or a lower response time, is a nice to have, but not required, I think. Because again, when going back to this, I feel it's much smoother. But after using this for quite a while, I barely notice it at all. I barely notice the lag. Or right now, this is what I'm using as my main pen display, and no, I can't notice the lag anymore. But if I compare this with this one, I don't know if you could see it on the screen now, but with like looking at it like with my eyes, I could notice the difference, right? But using this all the time, then it's like it's good. So for me, the 25 millisecond is good. This one's better, but I don't think it's required. And lastly, let's talk about the price. The last time I checked, the 2021 version cost $399 US, and that is if you order it without the stand. If you order this with the stand, that would become $419 US. Now the 16 Pro 2.5K cost at $599 US, and there's no option to order this without the stand. So this will always come with the stand. And the 4K cost at $829 US, and same with the 2.5K, this would always come with a stand. There is no option to order this without a stand. So what's my verdict? Which of these I will like use on a day-to-day basis? So I have chosen the 4K because it has 4K resolution, and I think, just in my opinion, this is the best looking screen overall. But what's really the best, right? Even a best looking screen isn't really I can't really just give it to this one, right? Because each of them has their own pros and cons. For example, this one has a 4K resolution, but it has 25 millisecond response time, and it doesn't have any buttons for my switch screen functionality. This one has 2.5K resolution, a bit lower than this one, but it has 14 millisecond response time, which makes it really smooth for video playback, and it has button for my switch screen. This one has the most number of buttons on the side, but on specs wise, this is the weakest, but it has the best drawing experience. So I guess it would now boil down to what's more valuable to you. Price is also a factor. This one's the most expensive, this one is the cheapest, and this one is in the mid-range, like in between them, right? So if you're on a budget, right, and this is your first time buying a pen display, I would recommend this one, right? And if you're trying to look for value for money, this is what I would recommend. If we just like take out the 4K resolution of this, right? This one is the more superior pen tablet. The response time, it has buttons, the drawing experience of this is much better than this one. So overall, I would consider this as the more superior tablet, minus the resolution, right? So if value for money, I would give it this one. But if 4K resolution is very important to you and you have a bit of extra money, then I would recommend this one, right? And that's the reason why I'm gonna go for this, because the resolution is important to me. So I think that's it. I hope I helped you in deciding what pen tablet to buy, and I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the desk tour, and I think that's it. I will link the product link in the description, just in case you would want to buy these, and also the other products that were shown in this video would also be in the description below. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Please like this video or give it a thumbs up if you like this video, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, and see you in the next video.